So moving on to our next story, we're talking about the Seven Deadly Sins, the new Seven Deadly Sins TV anime, because it is relevant. If some of you aren't familiar with the show, there were other adaptations of the manga before that have been released, but this one in particular is actually going to be delayed, and it was initially slated to come out in October, which is very interesting because so far the stories that we've talked about have all been like around July-ish, and at this point now it's even extending to October that this company is looking at this and going, this doesn't look good for us at the very least. So it's being delayed. We don't know when it's going to come out. So far, the official website and Twitter have not announced a new date. And I said this before and I'll say it again. Very happy to hear that because of the fact that you're only going to make people more frustrated or make them sad in general and feel disappointed if they end up saying, oh, it'll come out in November or December, and then it ends up getting delayed again in some way, which again makes sense that they've delayed it in October, because if it comes out in October and then things start ramping up with the fact that we would be then going into the winter months and things would be getting colder and it would be flu season, well, they would not be the best because of the fact that usually anime production schedules are so tight and so close to failing, basically, and having to do a recap episode, 6 episodes in to a freaking series sometimes. Because of that stuff happening and it being so stressful to create anime that to the wire, which again is just how the industry is with how schedules are and everything like that, there's a good chance that if they said, no, it'll be good for October, first of all, would they be able to even work on it in August and September? Personally, just my view on it, no. But even if they could, or if they have already worked on some of it, which I don't think they would because it's slated to come out in October. But again, let's pretend that they have. They would probably end up running out after a few episodes, like some other shows that we'll be talking about a little bit later in this episode, and then they wouldn't be able to work on the rest of it. So at this point, I think it's just best to delay it for the time being. But I was under the impression there was only one Seven Deadly Sins show released so far, and it was actually released via Netflix in the U.S. Although I didn't know that Funimation got the release, the first series, the first 24-episode series, on DVD and I assume Blu-ray as well in the U.S. That's what I was under the impression. This was 2014-2015. So I thought, man, it's been 6 years. So sorry that Seven Deadly Sins fans can't see the anime until whenever, really. But no, apparently, and again, I'm someone who I'm not familiar with the series. There was a 4-episode television anime special titled The Seven Deadly Sins Signs of Holy War, and then that also was streamed on Netflix. It came out in Japan 2016, August, and it was streamed February 2017 on Netflix. Then there was The Seven Deadly Sins Revival of the Commandments, which, that sounds heavy. Guys, that sounds very heavy. That was a second full-on television anime series, and that premiered January 2018, and then Netflix was streaming that in October of 2018. So if everything had gone on track, I assume we would have had this come out on Netflix sometime in 2021, probably. But either way, at this point, I mean, I'm assuming, and this is just me, baseless conjecture here, this will probably come out in spring or summer 2021 because they still need that time to work on it. So even if there is a vaccine that comes out within the winter, they still need some time to work on it. So maybe they would take that time in spring to work on it. So it would then come out in late spring, early summer. Again, that's of course assuming that we end up getting a vaccine by this winter, which we genuinely don't know that right now. There are some scientists making a bit of headway on that, but there's nothing set in stone right now. So again, that's why I think it's very smart for them to say it will come out eventually, because that's much better than giving us a date that will then be pushed back further and further and further. Also, I didn't know that there was apparently an anime film for this as well. The Seven Deadly Sins, the movie, Prisoners of the Sky, that apparently opened in Japan August 2018. I don't know, I guess we didn't get that. And then there was also a television anime series, The Seven Deadly Sins, Wrath of the Gods, which premiered last October and ended on March 25th. Interesting. So then this was 2020? What was this? When was this? Oh, so I was right. Yeah, this aired recently, somewhat. So maybe that will come out first before this. I genuinely don't know, but there also will be apparently a sequel to the manga. I don't know when that will come out, but the initial manga just ended recently, and he even stated, Suzuki being the author of the manga, said that he said this in February, that side stories based on the remaining characters will come out quote unquote someday. However, he added that this will be after he quote-unquote begins serializing a new work, confirming that he is working on a new series. So yeah, the manga ended on March 25th, and the final volume did come out on May 15th. So it seems as if the manga will be unaffected. Some of those side stories or new works will probably be affected, but at least the manga proper itself has had an ending that hopefully wrapped it up well. Again, not familiar. Tell me if it did down below. And also, as wrapping the story up, tell me what you think about all of these different developments regarding the anime and when it will air, and maybe even Netflix's involvement if you have or haven't liked that. All of that stuff down in the comment section down below.